All right, let's see. I got 2 more coming in. Let me click them in and then we'll get started here.
While you're doing that, Steve, may I make a quick announcement?
Yeah,
reminder?
sure. Go ahead.
If everybody, if you could change your, I know there's some people who have already updated their call sign into their name. So like if you hover over your picture on the 3 little buttons, the 3 little periods, and click rename, you can add your call sign in. So if you could add that in, because we are still, even though we're not meeting in person, we are still keeping track of this. So hopefully if we get to meet in person by the November, December meetings, we'll still be able to count this in for the ticket drawings as well. So if you could make sure either your name is updated or preferably your call sign, that'll kind of make it easier to jot that down.
Okay, yeah, good deal. All right, I've got, while I'm thinking about it here, we're doing announcements. If y'all can see the chat, somebody just put on, oh, let's see, Bob sent it, but I don't, yeah, he must have just forwarded it on to somebody. We've got the chat here. Please let Delta Club members know that first come, first serve may have a 2-meter antenna with telescoping mounting pole at no charge. Can only get low bands now. So is he offer? I guess he's offering, he's got Jim Price, NI4C, and he's got his information there on the, if you look down in the chat section down at the bottom of the screen and then click on that, you can see the information, but looks like he's got a,
it's not showing up on mine.
Huh. All right.
I only sent it to you, Steve.
Oh, I got it. Okay. Okay. I didn't know how chat worked. I didn't know if everybody could see. Oh, I do see that it's private. I see it private. Okay. All right. All right. So we've got somebody. If somebody's interested, let me know and I'll forward you this information. So, okay.
What antenna is it?
Huh?
What antenna is it?
He doesn't say. It's mainly just he's got a 2-meter antenna with a telescoping mounting pole. Jim Price. Sounds like more than anything, probably more than anything else, people be interested in the telescoping mounting pole, I would say.
It's probably a Super Ringo.
Doesn't say.
If it's only 2 meters.
Yeah. All right.
I know where there's a slightly used 2-meter antenna that will be cheap for somebody.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know which one I'm talking about.
Yeah.
20 feet long.
Yeah, just wear gloves. It's got fiberglass that's coming off of it. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a big one. All right. I got 2 more joining in here. Give them a second. All right. Well, once again, welcome to the July Delta Club Zoom meeting. I really thought by now we'd be able to meet. But as we all know, things have not gotten a lot better. In fact, probably in some ways going backwards a little bit. So we and that's the thing, we got to plan these things a week or 2 in advance at least. And we definitely saw, and I think we made the right choice to say, hey, let's go ahead and do another Zoom meeting.
No, we didn't have the room.
Yeah, well, we could have, we could have found someplace else if we had to, but hey, we got Ed joining in here. Let me grab him in here. All right. All right. We'll, I guess we will just start with announcements from the board. Mary Jean, did you need anything else? If you want to, remind everybody again, if you would, put your name and your call sign. She's our, if you're a new member or don't know, she's our secretary, and she is trying to kind of keep a list of who's on the Zoom calls, and that would help her. Is there anything else that you were needing, Mary Jean?
That's all
Yeah.
I need.
Now
Thank you.
you sent me, while I'm thinking about it, I know that you'd sent out an email that as far as you knew, all the membership emails, acknowledging that we've received membership and the cards and sending out the card that we send has been sent out. So if somebody has, paid their membership for this year and hadn't received an email acknowledging it, let us know and we'll follow up on that. Usually by now that's slowed down by now anyway, but if we've got any new members or anybody that's interested in that, if you've sent something and hadn't gotten an email back from us.
Looks like Mount Nebo in your background.
Do what?
Well,
Oh, me? Yeah. All right. And is David on here? Treasurer? I'm looking through here. I don't see him. All right. All right. Do we have a motion though? And from Sparks, the treasurer's report and the minutes from the last meeting, do we have a motion to accept that? All right, Lynn, and a second.
Second.
All right, Ian, and all in favor? All right, any opposed? Main thing is main thing is any opposed. All right. Okay. Joe, do you have any? Found out who that one is. Joe, do you have something I'm sure to update us on?
Currently have a tech class going. The next class that's scheduled is on the 23rd. Hopefully it can be held, but we'll see what happens on it. It's the antenna and feed line class, and it's the one that Pat and I do the antenna shootout, which is quite eye-opening for a lot of the new hams. But anyway, that's all that I have right now. None of the students from the last class have, no more students have gotten licensed since the last class.
Okay.
I think there's 4 or 6 that had not tested.
Huh. Yeah, is a part of that because of the just kind of hard to test right now, or they're just not ready, or just start a little both? Or?
I don't know. I mean,
Yeah.
I sent them notice about SOTA testing and olive branch testing, so
Yeah.
I guess they opted not to test. I think part of it is they probably forgot half of what they learned.
Who hadn't? Yeah. Well, the reason why I was asking if there is anybody here that since testing has been a little sporadic, Joe is a good resource. He's as just from what he just mentioned, he knows. He's involved. He's not the main leader, but he's heavily involved with the testing that we normally do. Right before the meeting each month. But he also has other contacts in other parts of town. Mainly north and south. He's got to know some people up in Atoka area and down in northern Mississippi that maybe if somebody's needing to get testing done, and if he kind of knew that was a need that was out there, I'm sure he would see what he could do of pulling together some testing for everybody. So, okay. Does anybody else have anything? Any of the
One thing I will make a comment that I spoke with the Shelby County, the lady in the Shelby County clerk's office, and the specialty license plates, the ham tags as well as the specialty tags are not being made currently.
Oh.
The tornado destroyed the building that where those tags were made.
Wow.
So any specialty tag, any new ham tag is on hiatus right now. don't know when they'll be back up.
Wow. Okay. So that's even more so than the virus. It's facilities not even available. So yeah, that could be a while. With everything else going on, that's going to be lower. Well, I guess I guess it's where they make all the any of the, not just ours, but any other
Not
special.
just ours, any of the vanity tags they make.
Yeah. Any of them.
But the other vanity tags, unless they get your own initials on it, they have, they made those in advance, and the different clerk's office have the generic ones.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. The generic ones. But yeah, like I said, there's all those
the generic
other
vanity tags, but the special ones with their initials, they can't get paid right now.
The ones that we all sit at the traffic light and try to figure out what the heck was that supposed to be. Some of them are obvious, and some of them I just don't get it. All right. Let's see. Any other announcements? Anybody?
Well, it's great to see Miss Red sitting there stuffing his face. How you doing, Ed?
Just got home in time for a little bit of food, and right after this, then I got my other Zoom meetings.
There you go. Well,
Good to see
welcome.
you.
Yeah,
Hey.
welcome, Ed. Yeah.
Thank you. I'm really glad I got mine before the Christmas rush hour.
Yeah. That's right. That's right.
Do you have an Arizona one now?
I do, yeah, except that one's on the car.
All right.
Slightly different.
All right, Barry 1A, while we got you, anything, I think we're doing pretty good. You did mention at the board meeting that you are aware that maybe we need to do a little bit more tuning on the repeater.
Yeah, that's correct. And lately it hasn't been causing us much of a problem. So, let's hope it continues on, but we will fine tune that a little bit if I can get this guy to go contact me back, and so we can go out there. Other than that, no news is great news.
Yeah. Well, that's good. That's good. I know that it's I think it's been working fairly well, and it's welcome to have. It's good to have it back. All right. If don't have anything else, I think Ian, did you you did have some stuff that you were going to share?
Yeah.
Okay. And what this
We do
mainly
have
is, I'll just let
the
you
program.
introduce it, and yeah.
It's mostly it's centered around various contests and events. Some of them are specifically local with what the Delta Club helps with, and then others are wider events, ARRL sponsored, but it's all centered around operating.
Well, I'm sure this would be helpful for any new people that we've got that got interest out of it. Well, I had several people and then after, I wanted to go ahead and let you talk, and then we'll see what this brings up. And then if we wanted to fill in some more time, if anybody's got any interesting stories or whatever about field day, we can do that.
Steve?
Yeah.
Let's put out another word about everybody go in on their thumbnail on their picture and add their call sign.
Okay. Yeah, I see that we got a few people.
Up in the upper right-hand corner, there's a blue box with 3 dots. Click on it, and
Rename.
You can add your call sign.
Yeah. Put your cursor over your picture, and then you'll see that it should say mute or unmute, and then next to that's 3 dots. Click on that, and it'll give you the option of renaming. That'll just help us, while we're on the call now, know who's who, and get a reminder of call signs. And Mary Jean's using that to start keeping a better log of who's attending the Zoom calls. We're right at about the average again. We're at 53, so I'm really pleased and surprised at how well it's doing. And Dwayne, I'm seeing, has got a raised hand. There you go. I see it on your screen there too. How about that? All right. You got something that you wanted to share?
Absolutely not. My thumbs are too fat for this.
Okay. All right.
That's what I got to share.
Okay. All right. We're good then.
All right.
I did, if you were, all right. Let's see.
Yep.
All right. That's the
I was
thing.
gonna
I
say,
can lower. Hey, I can lower your hand. All right. How about that?
Oh, man, I'm glad you could. I couldn't figure it out.
That's all right. I guess it pops at that. I said we're all learning this. I guess that gives me the option of acknowledging that you're done. All right. If you need to step down the hall or something, that's you're excused. So, all right. Ian, I'm sorry. Back to you.
Oh, you're good. No, it's based on specifically events where you get to operate a radio, whether it's for some local community service or a contest or just a wider event. I geared it around, I think some of the more major ones, tried to hit the highlights of those, and then also went and made sure I pulled a couple that involve for technicians 10 meters, because you'd have the privilege to still be able to work a 10-meter event in a certain portion of the band, even if you haven't upgraded to general yet, but it might convince you to upgrade. But I can start a presentation for that whenever you're ready for me to, Steve.
Okay. Let's see. Do I need to give you permission to share or?
Yes, because you have it disabled right now.
Let's see. One, share, multiple. All right.
There we go. All right.
All right.
Steve, can you see me?
Yes.
yes.
Yeah. It's saying select a screen or application you want to share.
It's there.
It tells me I am screen sharing, so.
You're there.
Okay, there you
I
go.
got it. That's it.
All right. So, and I apologize, I can't see both at once. So if somebody types a question, those may have to be kind of fielded until we pause, but I'll try and pause every few slides to get those. Yeah, one of the main things is if you do go to any group events, of course, everybody's talked about this. Everybody knows what to do and the common sense of the situation and the safety. But since most of us
That's
at least
cute.
are
That's cute.
amateur, yeah, since most of them are amateur radio operators, you know how far 2 meters is specifically. So some various contest and event resources, which Bob, I think, already got a lot of these posted for us, so thank you. But the ARRL contest page is a big one. It's just, and again, these are on the website right now, so you don't have to write all these down, but it's contests.arrl.org, and it lists their sponsored contest listings. There's contestcalendar.com, which is a WA7 contest calendar. It lists an almost overwhelming number of different operating events is what it's centered around. There are some that are weekly to the annual events, and it also provides schedules, bands, modes, and links to the actual main web pages for those events. N3FJP, I think most everybody has probably at least heard of the software. They have numerous different softwares for contest specific logs and formats. They make it as easy as they can for you to not have to worry about formatting your log, what information you need. It flows very well, and it's very reasonably priced. They have a package where you can get all of their stuff for $50. I think they price it at $49, but
Yeah.
that covers anything they release. It's a lifetime right to use their software, any updates that they put out with it as well. I'm looking through their listing. I like supporting them because they provide certain things for free, like a Kids Day log is free. There's some what they call rookie contests, which the logs for those are also free. So they're providing those to help encourage people in the hobby without them having to spend more money after you've already probably spent all of it at a hamfest that we used to be able to have.
Yeah, and he is. I actually he is active in a lot of the contests. I've talked to him a couple of times, and I got him twice during this last field day on 2 different bands. So he is active. I think it's basically him and his wife that run everything. So it's it is a nice one to support, and he is really on top of any changes and updates. So
Yeah,
I got him on 20 meters.
yeah, he's
Nice.
yeah, he's out there.
yeah, it's kind of a bit of a hobby celebrity, I think. Another one is DX Summit. It's dxsummit.fi, which is for finding. And then, of course, if you're also doing the hunting, you can help report back available DX spots and contacts that you've made. I'm going to jump over to it real quick so that people know generally what it looks like. So this is the ARRL contest calendar. It shows you the next 5 years worth of projected dates. Obviously, they're subjected to some change, but most of the time they're not going to be very different from what is listed already. And then you can click on any of the links on the side to go to a more specific page for information. Log submission websites are in here. It'll show you can pull up the logs received, various scores after they're calculated. A lot of information there. The WA7 B&M contest calendar. Yeah, as I'm scrolling here, you can see the multitude of things. They make it really easy to find. If you have a free weekend and it's Friday night and you realize, man, I got the weekend off work, you can pop into their calendar and surely be able to find something, because you can break it down by 8 days, a month. They calculate out as far as they can. You can break it down by just the state QSO parties, if you want to work CW, if you want to work QRP, all of that.
Now that one is customizable too.
Yes.
What you can do is you can mark which ones you want to be reminded of, and it narrows it down for you a little bit better. And you're gonna ask me how to do it.
Yeah, I know
Yeah.
that you can pull in
Customize. All right, right there. The second.
calendars.
Yeah. You can customize it, and then you can click. You can unclick all. And then that'll clear them all, and then you can just click which ones you want. If there's some of them that you want. That's the main thing. I look at the overall every once in a while, but now that I've done it for a couple of years, I kind of know which ones I want to be sure and remember about some of the different things. And that, like anything else, it focuses you in on if it's a good weekend coming up or not. So.
Yeah, and as
You don't have to. It's not like you got to sign up to or anything. It must have a cookie or something in there that kind of remembers which ones you checked. That's the way I remember it.
Yeah, and they list all the ARRL ones in here as well, along with. I mean, the list is endless. I've found that if you can come up with a reason to be on the air, Hammond will put it on the air, which is not a bad thing. It's a good thing. All right, and then dxsummit.fi. This is just the base web page of what it looks like. If you're looking for a specific mode, a specific frequency, you can include specific ones or exclude specific ones. Like if you just want to work CW and 7 megahertz, then you can filter down to just those. And these are what have been reported by other operators that have contacted these people and then been nice enough to share that information back, so that if somebody else is looking for, oh man, I've been trying to get Switzerland for 3 weeks now, that there's somebody there at the time listed on that frequency. So it's helpful to you, and then you can go in and put the information in on what you've contacted and help others.
And it's only 11 minutes. That was 11 minutes ago that the top post was done.
Yeah, it's very active. Whether you filter it or not, it's blows through pretty quick sometimes.
It was great for 13 colonies.
Yeah, I bet. All right, and then another one is DX Maps. This one is a little more instead of specific information, it's a little wider information. You can filter it down by specific band you're looking for. The bigger thing that this is used for is not necessarily so much contacts as to say what propagation is looking like for any given area at a specific time. Um, and you can zoom in and it'll tell you what grid square, and you can see.
Hey.
Yeah.
I just couldn't find the phone.
Oh, it was not for me. You can zoom in and see where your area is getting to and kind of get an idea for propagation. If you're able to get to an area that you've been looking for, if you're getting to an area you've already been, and maybe kind of help you figure out if you're having a station problem, and that's why you're not getting in if everybody else is in that area, or if it's just a poor condition for that time. Right. Basic contest and event prep for people who've never done it before. This is just kind of an overview, and it depends on how long you're operating for, where you're operating, what the event is. So it's going to be unique to each operator, what position they have in that event or contest, and what they're wanting to do. The basics, obviously, you need to know who needs coordinated with if you're doing a group and their contact information. So a lot of our events, which I'll list here in a minute, we have a specific coordinator that you have to check in with, and that it's set for you to call if you have questions or problems, or if something comes up and you can't make it. You have to know what you're expected to bring, and if you need anything extra outside of that for your own personal care or needs outside of what is necessary for the event, where you have to be operating and how to get there. Most people are probably familiar that Delta Club used to help with St. Jude. Well, they start closing roads for certain races, so you have to know the route to get to where you're supposed to be, because your GPS is not going to know where they blocked off that road, and you don't want to end up being late. And then when to arrive, and then when the contest or event begins, because you may have travel time, there may be extra traffic. You may also run into, if you don't know when the contest ends or begins, it's pretty sharp in the logging. So if you log something before it begins, it doesn't count, but you're going to think potentially that you've already gotten that contact. And for everything you can, do a trial run. Try and set up all the same equipment that you'll be using within reason. Sometimes it just doesn't work if you've got, a 40-foot set of beams that you're going to put up for field day. You can't always throw those out in your backyard to test them. But if you can use the same coax and the same radio, the same computer, definitely at least try and use it. There are a lot of ways that you can check if your signal is getting in somewhere or if you're receiving. It's part of what beacons are useful for. But it expedites your setup process because you've practiced it, and make sure that all of your equipment is functional. And then have your information and tools on hand. A lot of people learn this the first time at field day. Have a phonetic sheet available and visible, and have a band plan sheet available and visible, so you know where you're allowed to work. And if you blank on I for India, then you have it right in front of you instead of coming up with something that somebody else may not recognize, and then you could miss a contact. If you're operating under a club or event call sign, usually have that visible. Anybody that's been to field day, even just walking through as a visitor, has probably seen the cards everywhere with the call sign, the class, and the section. You have to know what information you need, because if you miss a piece of their information, that contact's not valid anymore. And then, of course, any spare equipment, any tools, if you need spare tools, meals or snacks. And then the most important one is coffee, especially if you end up helping out at field day. The local events, of course, most of these are up in the air, but I'm sure that the coordinators that normally help with those, or whoever is working with those this year, if they happen, will be reaching out to us like they normally do for volunteers. The typical ones, if it happens, the next one would be the MS 150, which is normally September. in that first week. Bluff City Blues bike ride happens in October. Swamp Stompers in January. The Mars Crossband Communications is normally in May. And then, of course, Field Day, we just passed it. And that's normally, of course, in June.
While we're on that, does anybody know anything definite about MS 150? I'm thinking that's not going to happen, but has anybody heard anything definite? Okay, and Bluff City Blues. Those are the, you know, I'm betting the 150 is not going to happen. The Bluff City Blues, it's far enough out, it could. So, but yeah.
Yeah, and they're outside events, which helps. But I don't know what the coordinators or the people that actually run those races are going to do.
Well, you know, but you do have people congregating at the checkpoints or you know, aid stations, and you know, it's just, and especially the 150, because that's you know, staying at the hotel and everything else. I'm definitely not speaking officially, but I would really be surprised if that one's going to happen. I'd like to see the Bluff City Blues happen. That one would be nice, but we'll just have to keep everybody updated.
Yeah, it's hard to tell right now, but part of it was also, for anybody new, how much time the Delta Club tries to dedicate to the community to serve them normally, without these kind of, you know, COVID-related interruptions and things. But just the number of events that we do, and of course St. Jude used to also be on this list until this past year. Anything else about events or anything so far before I move on?
I was just curious, are they going to do anything for the March of Dimes, or y'all not doing anything with that this year coming up?
The last that I heard, since Linda has been coordinating that in the past, the March of Dimes people are looking into buying some of the little FRS radios and just using those. We haven't heard anything at all about that.
Okay, just curious.
I did miss putting that one on my list, though. I apologize.
That's all right. That's all right. I don't think we didn't do it this last year anyway, so that one's probably fading out.
Hey, Steve.
Yeah.
On that subject of events, is there a possibility, you heard some talk from maybe all the clubs getting together, doing a parking lot swap fest or something, maybe at the church over there, or say October, somewhere in there when it's cooled down?
I haven't heard.
Or flea markets?
I haven't heard anything. That would be nice, but I haven't heard anything.
Well, maybe you throw it out there to see if they want to participate and maybe do something.
Yeah. I mean, we could start kicking it around and see if there's any interest, and then get ready for it if we can do it. That's the whole problem this year. You know, it's just nobody's too excited about planning anything, because you have to put the effort into planning it, not knowing if you can do it or not. But you know, we at least need to see if there's an interest. So yeah, that's a good point.
Well, it'd just be, you know, working out of your trunk in a parking lot, wear your mask, whatever, and walk around and have some resemblance of a ham fest.
Yeah, I mean, if nothing else, I mean, most of the people that belong to the other clubs are also Delta Club anyway. So I mean, since you're volunteering to lead it, yeah, I think that's a great idea.
What I'm hearing is that's a ham radio version of Trunk or Treat. You got a mask on and doing it out of the parking lot.
There you go.
Yeah, that's it. Do it in October, maybe.
That and a bottle of wine.
Yeah,
Rick wearing his mask now?
Keep us updated how you're coming along with that. No, but seriously, that is a good idea. That is a good idea.
Find my mask.
Yeah, it is something we could do, and that's a good idea. We'll follow up on that. All right, Ian, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, you're good.
I'm ready.
You ready? Whoa.
Nice.
Yeah, when. Oh, now that's
Put your
scary.
face back on.
Yeah.
It is his face.
There.
I like that one better.
All right, so this is kind of a rolling score, but it's SOTA, Summits on the Air. It's something, it's not a scheduled thing. You can do it anytime. It's SOTA, SOTA.org.uk is the website for it. And the website just describes it as an award scheme for radio amateurs that encourages portable operation in mountainous areas, which sounds a little extreme. Some are more accessible than others. The only requirement is it has to be an area that is registered in their website. So definitely research first, because some of these are vehicle accessible, some of them are not. And one of the larger caveats to me, since I like using my mobile if I'm traveling anywhere, is you can't operate out of or close to the vicinity of a motor vehicle, and you can't have your station connected to it. So you can't run off the car battery or have your mag mount on top of the car for it to be considered valid. But any licensed operator can do, they call it activating a summit. You just travel and locate your equipment within 25 vertical meters of that summit, which you can look on their website and find more information. They call it the activation zone. You can't use repeater contacts for it, but they have ruled that satellite contacts are valid up there. But it definitely gets you away from the noise. And then any licensed operator, if you don't want to have to go up to summit, then you can, they call it chasing, any summit that's activated and provide them with contacts. As a chaser, you can sign up to submit logs, but it's not required. It's only if you want points as a chaser. The closest ones that I could find were over in Arkansas. There's one, Iron Mountain and Sugarloaf Mountain were the two closest ones per mileage that I could find. There were some others closer in that area too. One that's a lot easier is Parks on the Air. It's also anytime. It's parksontheair.com. It's just for the website describes it for portable amateur radio operations that promote emergency awareness and communications from national and state or province level parks. It's not just a United States thing. They also have parks activated in a ton of different places. One of the main things, know the rules of the park, where you're activating, and be courteous. I'm sure everybody's heard take nothing but pictures, leave nothing but footprints, and that whole thing, because you obviously don't want to leave them with a bad taste for ham operators. Research the park, know if they're open, what's open at different times, especially depending on the area you're in, and with what we're dealing with so many closures right now. The only requirement is it has to be registered in the Parks on the Air website to count for contacts. But if it's a state park or a national park, chances are very high that it's already registered and available there. And then through their website, there's a place you can go to register what they call a scheduled activation, which for other people that monitor the website, it lets them know when and then on what bands or frequencies you're going to be operating, so people can help you find contacts. It's much lower barrier than summits on the air. It's great for portable activation, and will definitely get you away from the noise of a city most of the time. Just like with SOTA, they don't have a formalized exchange unless it's a park-to-park activation. The only thing that adds is you have to exchange a park reference number to get the points for a park-to-park. For example, Beeman Shelby Forest State Park, their reference number is K2957. The two closest ones are really close here. You have Beeman Shelby Forest just south of Millington, and then T.O. Fuller, that's a little south of downtown. And as you can see in my picture, the bears are lonely. Not that we get those here, but
Yeah. Well, that was a big one, and I'm guessing what, 2 or 3 years ago, the national parks there was a national parks on the air when it was the 100th anniversary of the national parks, and that was a pretty big deal.
One thing, if you go into a park, I know during national parks on the air, you were told to talk to the
Park
park
ranger.
rangers to, let them know what was going on. I know some areas, they don't like RF in the area, but I know during national parks on the air, there was a situation down out of Chattanooga that people went in and didn't talk to the rangers, and they were told to leave.
Yeah. But by the same token, because of the national parks on the air, I think a lot of the parks became aware of it, and unless there was a problem, because I still see some parks on the air things on some of the websites and stuff that I've watched, and it's still out there, and it is a good option.
Yeah, I made a contact with a guy in North Carolina during 13 Colonies weekend. He was in a park in North Carolina near, I've forgotten, towards the eastern side of the state.
Yeah, it's also good if you go on Parks on the Air website, you can see all the parks that are activated, what frequency they're on. If you're not doing anything, it's a good way to make some contacts.
Yep, and that helps them out too. But yeah, definitely, it doesn't hurt anybody to make sure that you at least check in at the front and let them know what you're doing. I've thought a few times whenever I've been trying to take equipment out and set it up, I've wondered how long it's going to take for somebody to call the police to figure out what this guy is doing, setting up a bunch of equipment just out somewhere that they don't recognize.
It's going to be hard in the national parks now because they charge you a fee to go through unless you have a pass.
Yeah. Okay.
All right. Another one, this is third weekend in October. It's Jamboree on the Air. It's Boy Scouts of America centric. It's pretty basic. They don't even have specific official hours. They leave it open all weekend that weekend so that you can help out with the scout groups. You can coordinate with a local group for times and contacts. You can assist directly or just make sure that somebody's on the other end, because it's hard to show somebody an example if there's nobody to talk to at that particular moment whenever they're trying to exemplify the hobby to somebody. And for how to participate as an amateur radio, this just came directly off the Jamboree on the Air page. You can contact the local Scout Council to see what's already there and how you can assist. If there isn't anything already planned with them, then you can work with them to find a place and a scout group to set up a station or to visit a station that's already there. And of course, you can always, if somebody already has that, just participate by making contacts, even if you don't specifically participate with Jamboree. You just communicate with the others that are. It gives them some more activity on the air and gives them some more fun to have and show them through the hobby.
One thing that I've done for Jamboree on the Air is have a list of questions that the scouts can ask the other scouts. They come tongue-tied a lot of times and don't know what to say. And if you have a list of questions and things, it helps the QSO go better.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
It doesn't necessarily have to be Boy Scouts specifically. You can have Girl Scouts and some of the other girl-related organizations like that.
Okay. All right. Awesome. I'd only heard it specifically referenced with Boy Scouts. I didn't mean to exclude anybody. So no,
our legal
definitely
counsel will be contacting you in the morning.
This is not necessarily. This is not necessarily the thinking of the management, but
right. Any views expressed on the Zoom call are those of the presenter and not the organization. Yeah.
Right.
You're all right.
Though is that This is actually sponsored by the World Scouting Organization, World Scouting Movement. And in other countries, it is a co-ed operation with the scout troops and everything else. So, you know, don't feel like you have to just keep it just to the boys.
All right. Thanks, Hugh. And hey, good hearing from you, man. We hadn't heard, I hadn't seen or heard from you in a while.
Yeah, thank you.
Being retired, I've been busier than a long-tailed cat in a room full of rocking chairs.
Yep. I know what you're talking about. All right, next.
Yeah. So the next one is 13 colonies. I have a section for contests that we're getting to. I put this one because it's specifically a special event. It's for the original 13 U.S. colonies. The website for it that I found was 13colonies.us. The week of 4th of July, you have a full week to get all 13 colonies. They have 15 special event stations related to it. There's 13 colonies and then 2 bonus. And if I remember correctly, one of the bonus stations, the GB13 COL, is actually across the ocean. So I think I heard a couple people talk about having to get that one on FT8 or some alternative mode than being able to get them on phone.
I got them both D-Star.
But it couldn't get them.
I did D-Star and got both bonus stations.
That's a good idea.
Yeah. Yeah. It's all modes are available for use. It just depends on what that special event station decides to set up and use during the event. And it's open for, they specify all HF bands plus VHF. But with HF bands, they ask that you don't use 60 meters.
They go K2A through K2M, I believe.
ARRL contests. I'm sure this is not an exhaustive list, but just to show how many contests ARRL sponsors alone, and it covers a very wide range. I'm not just going to read everything on the screen because I just pulled this right off of their calendar. But they cover 10 meters specific, which even technicians can do in a certain part of the band. 160 meter course field day. We just also passed the IARU HF contest. They have some international contests, Kids Day, and then some specific rookie contests, which I'll talk about in a minute too. For anybody that's newer, it's just specifically meant to try and encourage newer operators to get out there and on the air. Other contests, there's so many we could sit here and talk until the weekend about all the different contests. So I just pulled out some of the more major ones that I could find listed. But there's CQ Worldwide. There's CQ Worldwide for specifically for DX. There's VHF contests. There's 1010, which is a specific organization that focuses on 10 meters. Winter Field Day. There's a QSO party for North America, where North America works everybody else, and everybody tries to work North America, and then specific states are broken down for that throughout the year too. Kids Day, it's 2 times a year. It's just designed to give on-the-air experience to younger people and hope to foster an interest in the hobby so that they get licensed. It also lets people have a specific day to try and share their hobby with their kids or grandkids or nieces or nephews or neighbors. Bands, they do have a list of suggested frequencies, but they don't really list any as off limits as long as you have license privileges to use them. The suggested exchange is name, age, just a general location, because I've met some kids that you ask where they're from, and they list their home address and their grandmother's home address, and so don't advertise that over the air, I would say. And then their favorite color, and you can encourage people to try and contact you with it if you're just at home and aren't necessarily operating for that. But you can just call CQ Kids Day. And then just a brief story submission that somebody put up to the ARRL about it. This is a station that operates out of Hawaii, but during a Kids Day, and all the kids that came through to operate at his station made 125 different contacts. So it seems to be pretty popular, at least in certain areas. But I thought that was cool. I didn't realize it'd be that many just from a single station out there. So if you're missing Hawaii, wait for Kids Day is what I got out of this. Field Day, of course, most people know the fourth full weekend in June. This year it was June 27th and 28th. Next year is going to be June 26th and 27th. Purpose is contact as many stations as possible on the bands within the rules, as well as 50 megahertz and above. So HF, and then 50 megahertz and above. I listed some of those wrong since it says HF, but y'all can get me for that later. But it's also to learn to operate in abnormal situations in less than optimal conditions. Since everybody is all trying to call out at the same time, it's kind of a simulated set of pretty severe interference. That each contact has to include initiation by the operator on both sides. And one of the reading through the rules and the information about it, I didn't realize that it started that long ago, but it started in 1933. But it's the perfect time to observe and learn from more experienced people. I'm sure everybody's heard or probably said this, there's always somebody that knows more than me. So it's always a lot of fun just to watch and learn other people's operating methods, tips and tricks that they have picked up or learned from somebody else over the years. And a lot of the time, I know for me it was a newer licensee's first HF contacts. Usually, especially if you're a newer licensee, the first thing whenever you're walking around visiting, they'll tell you is, here, sit down, type what I tell you to type. And suddenly you're moved from logging to calling because somebody needs a cup of coffee. But it's also a great time to, of course, be safe, but meet with other licensed amateurs in your area. There are some people that I don't necessarily see at meetings because maybe they can't make it during the week, but I see them at field day. And the result is the accumulation of points, and they base it on a multitude of things, but you get points based on class, size, your contacts, a JOTA station, which for anybody new is just a get on the air station. It's meant for visitors to be able to make contacts through that field day event. But you get points for running one of those as well as for the contacts made on it, and then using alternative or emergency power. And there's the rules can get quite lengthy, but you can also get bonus points from solar power being used. Again, the JOTA station, if you put up a public advertisement, if you set up in a public area, if you have a safety officer, if you are able to copy certain bulletins, and then visitation by an elected government official also gets you some extra bonus points. But yeah, definitely look through the rules if you're interested, because there's quite a number of them, but that's also what other more experienced operators are for. They've been reading through the rules and recognizing them for a good number of years. Another one is the North American QSO Party, which I thought I had the date on this. It is coming up. Yeah, the CW one is in August 1st and 2nd, and then single sideband is August 15th and 16th. But the focus is North America, but the participation is worldwide. It's similar to the state QSO parties. You get points for working North America stations, even if you're already in North America. But they also split it out by mode. So RIDI is 18th and 19th of this month. CW and single sideband on separate dates. The bands is 160, 80, 40, 20, 15, and 10. So you've got plenty of options. The RIDI contest is not available on 160. They have different power outputs depending on what you select and what kind of a station you were to run. Similar to field day, where you have to pick what your class is going to be based on the rules around how you operate your station. This one does have a max output power of 100 watts. Feels like it makes it a little more fair sometimes. Exchange, if the station's in North America, it's just the name, the state or the area or province. And if not, it's just your call sign and name. And then I put the state QSO parties because it's essentially the same thing, just for specific states. Tennessee's is coming up in September, but it's cumulative. So each log you submit in that calendar year becomes a score multiplier. So if you participate in 8 state QSO parties that year, your contact score gets a multiplier of 8 just based on that. So each state submitted requires at least 2 contacts, and each participant has to submit at least 2 states. That makes it really easy for us because we're at the corner of 3 of them.
I didn't know that, yeah.
Yeah. And then they have different challenge levels that are, it's more recognition than it is necessarily for who got the most contacts. But if you get 100 contacts or more, but less than 1,000, then you're bronze. If you get 1,000 but less than 5,000, it's silver, and so on. So I thought that was neat. I learned a lot more about all these, digging through some more of the rules and information about them. The rookie roundup is specifically for new licensees or operators that don't have experience in that particular mode. So part of the idea is that anybody licensed in 2018 to the current year, or who has not yet made their first contact on any of those modes until this current year, is what they call a rookie for this event. But it's to encourage newer operators to operate on HF bands and get experienced operators to help them out and give them some encouragement. It's just meant to be a learning experience. The RIDI portion of that is August 16th. CW is December 20th, and then sideband is next year in April. 80, 40, 20, 15, and 10 meters. It also has a 100 watt output limit. And then non-rookies are not scored, but they're encouraged to participate and assist and help bump up the score of people that are. This one that just passed us is the IARU HF World Championship, and it's just to support amateur self-training and radio communications, improve operating skills, intercommunicating with other amateurs around the world, specifically the IARU member society headquarters, because they have their own call signs and stations that they operate, and you get specific points for contacting one of those as well. They list the bands. They discourage that you not use, the way they describe it is the IARU discourages use of contesting on any band where amateur radio licenses are considered secondary access, like 60, 30, 17, and 12. I'm sure most everybody remembers those and where amateur radios are considered secondary users. but it's specific to CW and phone. You send a signal report in your ITU zone. Most of our area, at least I live in Cordova, is 8. Depending on how far west you go, you may cross into 7. And then the 10-meter contest, which is coming up in December. It's the second full weekend of December. It's for amateurs worldwide to exchange QSO information with as many stations as possible on the 10-meter band, which is kind of fun because you don't always necessarily know where that opening is going to pop up or who you're going to end up talking to, because it can sometimes shift when you're not expecting it even. But it's specifically 10-meter CW and sideband, but even technicians can work this one, even if you don't have somebody else that you can operate under. But CW is available 28 megahertz to 28.5, and then sideband is 28.3 to 28.5. And that might not sound like a lot of room to work with, but you might not necessarily want a lot of room to work with because it makes it easier to find somebody. But it's a 48-hour event. One of the caveats in their rules was any station can operate only for 36 hours during that time. So you have to have breaks of 30 minutes in there. And the minimum break you can take is 30. And I think that's probably to make sure that everybody has a chance to get through instead of just a few stations in an area covering everybody else up. All right, so any questions before I move on? That's my list of contests and events that I've gone through. Any questions about those? I will take that as a no.
I didn't hear anybody either, so go ahead.
Okay, all right. Post content or event, there are a multitude of different contests and events. Just, you want to be able to go back there, so make sure you leave the area the same or better than when you got there. I'm not listing these because I've seen a problem with this, but it's, just like in the rules and regulations, they list good amateur practice. So this is part of good amateur practice, is making sure that you're courteous to the area you operate from. Logs, make sure you gather all your logs and can submit them in the right format. Make sure you know the format and the submission deadline. Some of them can be pretty short. Some of them require submission within 5 days of the ending of the event. Most require what I've seen called a Cabrillo format, but again, the N3FJP has software for logging multiple different spreads of contests, and there's some other major softwares that have an export option specifically for contesting, where you can put your logging software in a contest mode. If you aren't sure how to submit, you can look online. There are thousands of other operators that have probably had the same question you do, or you can ask a club member. But the biggest thing is making sure you know the deadline so that you can get it in on time to get counted, because you want your points. And it's, even if you don't necessarily want the points, it's considered a good courtesy to submit your logs, because it confirms your contacts and they count for your contacts. So if you submit it to that location, as well as making sure it gets into Logbook of the World, it helps other amateur radio operators confirm their contacts and get their counts up, just like what you probably want. And that also goes along with QSL cards. If you offer or want to send confirmed contacts one, there are a lot of people that really enjoy that. Some people will request a mailing or a stamp fee to help them along with sending you a return QSL card, especially if it's international. And that's just, it's an option. I know a lot of people enjoy that. But that's all I had.
All right. Well, yeah, if somebody says they don't have anything, it's like when the grandkids are around and they say they don't have anything to do. If you don't have anything to do after this, you're you weren't paying attention. I don't know how we can do it all. That was good. Now, the only one you did leave off, and I thought about doing it while I was down here, is I saw you had summits on the air. There's actually beaches on the air too.
Oh, okay. I didn't know
Yeah.
about that one.
Yeah. I mean, no big deal. No, like you said, there's other ones, but that was one. I didn't stumble across that one until not too long ago, believe it or not. But yeah, there is a beaches on the air.
Cool. I saw islands on the air, but that's we're pretty landlocked up here.
Yeah. Well, but even the islands, you know, they like some up in the Great Lakes and, you know, something around some of the lakes and stuff, some of those are considered islands. So, hell, I guess we could do one. Heck, I guess we could do one from Mud Island. I don't know.
Mississippi River has several islands.
Yeah. Yeah. You know, so it's, there's, like you said before, there's, if somebody's doing something, somebody is doing it with a radio and it's an event or a contest. So there's plenty of options. So, all right. Does anybody, anything for events or contests, anything that I'm sure there's some that he may have, not many, but there may have been something else he overlooked. Anything anybody else wants to highlight or?
Hey, Steve, this is Jason.
Yeah.
There's also lighthouses on the air.
I was gonna say that. You know, heck, I mean, I think there actually is, or somebody had talked about even mines on the air or something. I mean, there's a lot of different on the airs. Once you go down that rat hole, there's a bunch of them. Now, some of them are smaller and smaller. Actually, that Beaches on the Air is a pretty small group, and they're not very active. And that's why I thought about doing something while I'm down here at the water side, but didn't want to fool with it after field day. I was about ready to take a little break. Speaking of field day, if you have not turned in your logs, you still have time. It's 2 weeks. It's not next Tuesday. It's the week after that on Tuesday's the deadline on that. I've got most of our information for what we did at the church. We had one operator, John, that was doing the digital, and he was literally leaving to go out of town the next day. And then I left when he got back, and I need to get some information from him, and I'll submit ours for the main one for the club. But if you did it and you haven't submitted your log, you know, remember this year you can show that Delta Club, you know, you were doing it as part of Delta Club, and we can get some credit for that too. And I know somebody's going to ask, Joe, what did we decide on that? It was Delta. What, as far as what to submit, and you're muted. You're muted, Joe.
I believe Delta Amateur Radio Club, Memphis.
Yeah. That sounds right. I should have looked it up, but didn't have it handy. Because I think the main thing at one time we'd said Memphis, Tennessee, and we figured just saying Memphis would make it easier. So, all right. Does anybody have any questions or have any need anything else? Wrapping up field day, since that one is right behind us. We just finished it, and if you did do it, don't forget to turn in your log. Hopefully people had more of an opportunity of doing it from home. So hopefully some of y'all did do it. I did it at the church as a group, and then I got home, took a shower, and did it for quite a bit more after that from home. So I did a little of both. So. Okay. Anybody got anything else they want to bring up? Any questions, comments? If you do have, one thing I would ask, if you've got something else that you would like for us to, as you can imagine, we're struggling a little bit coming up with ideas that we can do for meetings as a Zoom meeting. Joe tried to get in touch, or Joe did get in touch with the gentleman that he's been wanting to have come do a presentation about connectors. he lives down south of Jackson, Mississippi. So we thought maybe him doing his presentation as a Zoom would be a win-win. We could, save him the trip of driving up to Memphis and we could still do it as a Zoom, but he wasn't available. He's actually doing some stuff. He's updating some communications on some ships and busy with that for a while. Ed, did you raise your hand or did you hit a button by mistake?
I'm keeping the thumbs, not too fat.
Right.
Just wanted to toss it because our club's going through the same challenges, I'll say. We had a really cool one. One of our engineers here worked with Bob Heil, and Bob Heil does Zoom meetings, and we really enjoyed the heck out of it. So I don't know if anybody out there has any Bob Heil connectivity, or to reach out with him and see if he could. And of course, you do have to plan him out quite a ways.
Yeah.
But there's a possibility.
Okay.
No drinking out loud.
What, Jose?
I saw Richard drinking some wine. I said, no drinking aloud.
All right.
All right, that's all I got. Thanks.
All right. Thanks, Ed. Thanks, Ed. All right. I'm sure Richard needs to go fill up his glass, and we've got some other people that need to fill up a glass or got something else to do. Anybody? Yeah. Rick, all right. Gotcha. All right. Hey, I'm at the beach. If y'all think that's water,
Adrian raised his hand.
Who? Do what?
Adrian.
Okay. Go ahead. I'm not seeing.
You're muted, Adrian.
Hey, I just waved at Ed. That's all I did. That's it.
All right. You're just waving. All right.
Yeah, we miss him at the Red Cross. That's all we did.
That's all right. That's all right. Good to see you, Adrian. All right. Anybody got anything else? All right. I do appreciate everybody joining. And as Scott has always reminded me, please clean up your area, and we'll see you next month.
Okay.
I move that we adjourn.
That's right. We have a motion.
Second.
All in favor, go fill up your. All in favor, go fill up your wine glass. All right.
Tequila.
All right. See y'all later.
Good night, all.
Hey, guys.
All right.
Right.